Hey everyone, Jack here. Today I want to talk about the YouTube LGBT restriction algorithm and my public statement against it. For those of you who don't know, the algorithm is put in place to cover any content that falls under the LGBT banner. Anything that features said gay content, trans or bisexual content or whatever is thrown into this filter and is inaccessible to anyone with the restriction filter turned on. For a lot of adult users who have this off, this won't affect you. Mostly the viewers. But for content creators, and this is the first reason why I'm against this, for content creators, it doesn't make sense. Now, I did a series on Night in the Woods. And there are characters who are gay, who are bisexual, who have an ambiguous gender that isn't really known to the player because the game doesn't showcase that in a way that we are necessarily used to. And most of the videos got put under the restriction. There are about, I want to say, 15 or so videos, 16. And there's only 5 that are viewable with the restriction turned on. And here's the problem with that. The 5 that are available, some of them feature dismemberment, murder, kidnapping, firearms, vulgarity in excessive amounts. And this is baffling to me. There's an argument to be made about whether or not an anti-violent algorithm can and should be made. But I think that's beside the point. The point being that it is baffling that violence is being treated once again as a less severe infraction against someone's psyche than someone's gender or sexual identity. And this feeds into my political stance, which is, while I agree that this is an algorithm protected under the First Amendment, that YouTube is creating a platform and can choose how people express themselves on it. It is absolutely unsound. It is untenable from an ideological perspective, and it's a big fuck you to the LGBT community. I personally don't believe in being completely apolitical. I do believe there's a time and place, and I believe when good art creates these conversations, it necessitates being political. Because I believe all art is political in some fashion. All art says something. And when you create an algorithm that draws a line in the sand and says, anything under this banner of identity, anything that is created with this expression of self must be gone. We will not allow it. I can't abide by that. I can't politically, ideologically allow myself to contribute to a platform that thinks that is okay. And I'm sure that the intent may be pure, but there were numerous steps that YouTube had taken in order to implement this algorithm that they never once stopped to think about. They have taken a lot of time to create and implement this algorithm, and in that time, no one stopped them to say, hey, maybe we should think about what this says to these people. And I can't abide that. It's vulgar. I detest any sort of limiting of speech based on how someone is born. This is... I don't think I need to explain any further than that, because that's what this is. How does this flag users content creators who are gay, who are trans, who are bisexual? How does their content get flagged? What's to stop an algorithm from deciding that certain creators are not allowed to put out content despite how family friendly it might be? You know, I don't fault creators who primarily make their income off of YouTube to continue putting stuff on there because that is their lifeblood. But it's getting to the point where people who don't make a statement on this, who don't try to be active in the community to take a stance against this, it's become emotionally hard. Because I'm tired of wondering who's on our side. Who is on the side of the LGBT community? Who is on the side of people who want to express themselves without restriction of how or where they were born? And I draw a hard line in the sand on that one. And I don't believe this is a radical thought. I don't believe I deserve any credit for thinking that way. I don't believe I need a cookie for this. I just believe that it is unfathomable in 2017 that we're still having this discussion. It is unfathomable despite the fact that reading the news, you can tell there are plenty of people in all walks of life who believe that gay people are offensive by the mere nature of their existence, that trans people are offensive by the mere nature of their existence. There are people out there who still believe this, and maybe they always will exist. But I don't want their money. And if they want to give me their money, fine. But I don't want them to decide what content I create, what content is visible, what content is accessible to kids of all ages. And I can't in good faith put any content on YouTube. Period. So, I'm sorry. I want to make more content. I may find another place for it. YouTube is obviously the best platform for it, but it's also ideologically the skeeviest at the moment. So, I apologize to anyone who's followed me so far, who supported me in like these very bare gestures of creating a channel. But you know, this isn't my full-time job. I have the freedom to get out. And frankly, I feel it is politically and ideologically important too. So, thank you for your time. That's all I have to say on the matter.